Welcome to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. Every week I host live chats via our YouTube channel with leaders in the AFL and high performance industries. Join me live every Sunday at 6 p.m. where I debrief the recent chats and announce the upcoming guests. We drop an inspiring and educational episode every Monday. If you like the show, please follow us on your favourite podcast app.
The Prepare Like a Pro podcast. This week on the show we have Sarah Perkins, also known as Perko. She is an AFLW listed player at the Goldcoast Suns and VFLW listed player at Hawthorn Football Club. Prior to Suns, Perko played at Adelaide Football Club and worked in the club community team, helping with female football clinics and at Crows Cup carnivals. Before we start episode 55, the Prepare Like a Pro podcast mission is to inspire aspiring staff and athletes with practical knowledge of some of the industry's most inspiring individuals and to strengthen the AFL community. If you like the show, please show your support by following us on Instagram and subscribing to our podcast. We're on iTunes, YouTube and Spotify.
Here she is. How you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, going well. Thanks for jumping on, Perko.
No worries, anytime.
Well, let's dive back into the beginning. At what age did you start playing footy, and when did you discover you had a passion to play at the highest level?
I was playing, I guess, in a junior league when I was 16. But before that, probably had a passion just for kicking the footy out in the street with my brother and the boys that lived on our street growing up. But it probably wasn't until after playing netball and soccer for a little while that I was like, I've always liked footy and want to do something a bit different. So, convinced mum to let me start playing at the age of 16 and haven't looked back.
Oh, awesome. So you transitioned from netball and soccer. Did you find those sports helped you transition into footy?
I guess they're all a bit different, but there's aspects of each game that you can bring in, I guess. I always like to tell people that netball is quite competitive, and I was always good at contesting in that. So, it's probably brought my physicality from the netball court to the footy field.
Yeah, okay. And then you mentioned you started playing in the streets with your siblings, and was it also neighbours as well, or how many people would you guys have a kick with?
I'm pretty lucky that my brother's 6 years older and used to treat me like his little brother. So, he taught me how to be tough, I guess. And then there were a few other boys on the street who joined in. So, it was always good fun.
Oh, nice one. And 16, what were you playing? Community football? Like, was it on Saturdays, training twice a week? Take us through sort of a typical week, 16-year-old.
I guess so. Training was, I think, once a week on like a Wednesday afternoon, and then we'd play on a Saturday morning. And at that point, I was still playing netball, so I'd go basically straight from footy on a Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon netball. And then if I decided to go to training, or I just played an extra game of netball during the week. So I'm pretty lucky that I've got two older siblings, and they drove me around heaps, and so did my parents. So it was always an interesting week trying to fit in all the different sports. Yeah,
nice one. So netball's quite, like you said, competitive, and then also demanding on the body. How long were you able to keep that up where you could play both sports?
I think I officially retired from netball when I was 21. So, I kept them up for a while, but I decided to drop netball after it sort of stopped becoming fun. So, just retired from that at 21 and just stick to footy, and here I am.
And what about soccer? When did you, retire from soccer?
I think I gave it up at like the age of 13 or 14. So, I had a hip injury and I had to pick one sport, and mum was at netball every Saturday, and my brother was playing footy and my sister was at netball. So I thought it's probably easier just to get to netball on a Saturday than trying to figure out my way to get to soccer.
Yeah, okay. And then the game that you were playing, have you always played forward, or have you played different positions over your career?
Towards now, like I'm more a forward than anything else, but as a junior, I think it's better to play everywhere. So, I'd play forward, I'd play back, play in the midfield. Just roll with wherever the coaches put me. And I think now I'm stuck at full forward and trying to kick as many goals as I can. And might as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And has that always been your favourite position?
No, I do enjoy playing off a half back, but I like kicking goals and celebrating like a fool, so I might as well just keep doing that while I can.
Yeah, fair enough. What's your favourite celebration? What's your go-to at the moment?
Well, I haven't kicked too many goals as of late, so probably nothing that extraordinary. But I did give a sort of love out to my family and friends in the first round this year. So yeah, just a bit of a shout out to them for helping me over the past year with COVID and keeping me strong, and yeah, always let me follow my dreams.
Yeah, fantastic. The support side of things that you mentioned, who has been some strong influences on your career to help you get to where you've got to?
Well, yeah, my family are my number one supporters, so they've always had my back. And yeah, being the youngest of three siblings, I'm pretty lucky that they've been able to drive me around as well as my parents. But over the last sort of year, I've had a lot of mates who have helped me keep me motivated to go out and run, and especially during COVID and stuff, that I probably owe the last year to them. And then I've obviously got my footy mentors and stuff who I'm lucky enough to play with. And I mean, you spoke to Hutchie last week. She's been a huge influence on my career. So yeah, I'm really lucky to have those people in my life.
And when you're seeking to get better at a certain part of your game, will you talk around the people, whether it be family or people who have helped you in the past, and they'll put you in direction with someone or give you a tip? Or is it more something that you've always had people around you within the team that you play for that can help you?
Probably a bit of both. I mean, it's always good to get an outside opinion. So I'm pretty close with coaches and players that I've played with in the past. So if you're unsure of something, it's always good to reach out to them. But yeah, I guess the first point of call would be go to the people who are around you the most. So at the moment, that'd be all the girls on the Goldcoast and the coaching staff up there. So yeah, it depends on what you need advice on. If it's what I'm doing wrong at the moment or how can I get better, it's yeah, always going straight to the first point of contact, which would be the Suns at the moment.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so 16-year-old, you transitioned from like soccer, you finished at 13, netball, you finished at 21. What age did you recognise that football was the one that you were going to play at the professional level?
To be honest, I probably didn't think I'd get the chance. Playing junior footy, we were told that, at some point they were going to try and bring in a women's league, and that was going to be 2020, 2021 around that time. And then all of a sudden Gil decided to tell us that he was going to bring in a teams in 2016, 17. So probably wasn't until about 2015 that they brought in a women's academy that I thought I'd better take it a bit more seriously and give it a real red hot crack.
Yeah, okay. So if it was 2020, it would be something that you think it would be too challenging to start?
I guess it would have depended on how I was going at the time. So I think towards the end of 2014, even the start of 2015, I wasn't really enjoying my footy that much, and I probably thought, oh, do I keep sticking it out and playing for fun, or do I find something else to do? And yeah, I'm just really lucky that the coach down at my local footy at the time said, no, you need to give it a red hot crack and pull your finger out and get fit and be the best version of you that you can be to play footy.
Who was that? Who was your coach?
Brennan Major. So he's now coaching the Essendon VFL girls. So yeah, huge shout out to him for helping me pull my head in and give footy a crack, because yeah, without him I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah, they're valuable conversations to have. Take us through for developing footballers. Like, how did that come about? Did you open up and say, yeah, this is on your mind, you're thinking about taking it seriously, but you're not sure if you have the love for it? Or did he approach you? How did that conversation start?
Well, probably a bit of both. I mean, at that time I was floating between the reserves and the senior footy in the VFLW, and he pulled a group of us aside and said, oh, look, the AFL Vic's going to start this women's academy and we're going to put your names forward. And then I probably just had to have a bit of a chat to him after that. I said, oh, it's a bit silly to put my name forward, isn't it? I don't even really want to play that footy that much. And he said, oh, I think you'd just be an idiot not to play. So, yeah, it was a bit of a hard conversation to hear that. And I guess to have someone believe in me when I didn't believe in myself at the time, that, yeah, probably proved that I was like, oh, I should probably listen to this bloke. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. So, yeah.
Yeah, it worked out. And what did you change once that mindset changed? What did it mean? Was it doing more work? Was it changing the quality of work that you're doing? How did you go about it?
It was probably a huge thing for me at that time was I changed my diet and my work ethic. So I started jumping in the gym a bit more and taking that side of footy a little bit more seriously and trying to tone my body and get fit. And then just really showing up to training and putting in the intensity that I probably lack. So instead of going half paced, I was, giving it a real hot crack and making sure I was doing all the extras to get right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then so once the diet change, and then the gym program, were they resources that you had from support from the club, or did you have to outsource those?
Well, I'm pretty lucky. Mage had worked overseas with gym and strength and conditioning and stuff, so he helped, as well as the women's academy at the time. They gave us a gym program, and obviously we're training there and then training locally. That I guess once you start get the ball rolling, and you pick up little bits from each person. You got a standard base, I guess, to be able to work out a program. But then obviously knowing that I had Major in my back pocket to get advice off it, it was always good to ask him for help.
Yeah. And did you start to love the game again, like having fun, like growing up as a junior, or having a kick with your brothers in the street? Did that love for the game come back?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were winning games and I was kicking goals, so
That helps.
yeah, it helps. And I guess when you feel like you're playing good footy, I guess the game always just becomes, I guess, fun again, and it feels easy. So there was no pressure to perform, or I wasn't putting any pressure on myself. It was more about just having fun. And we actually had a pretty good year that year, and I guess just wanting to have fun. And like I said, kicking goals, it's always putting a smile on your face.
Absolutely. And so from that moment where Brendan had a chat with you about the AFL Vic, did you end up making the squad, and then how did your career progress from there?
So I think we had at the summer program of 2015 into 2016. And then I progressed to playing one game as an exhibition game for Melbourne against the Bulldogs earlier on in that year, and then missed out on selection for the next game. But just had a really good VFL season, and it was draft year come the end of 2016. So going into that, I thought I'd done everything that I could to get drafted, and then obviously missed out on the draft, but I was lucky enough to be picked up by the Crows as a free agent, and the rest is kind of history.
Oh, fantastic. So free agent, for those that don't understand, how does that work?
I don't really understand the process myself and how it all happened, but the free agency period in the women's draft is just, I think it's maybe a week post the draft. Obviously, for those that don't know, it's a state-based draft. So that year I nominated to be drafted in Melbourne, and I missed out on a spot there. So therefore, anyone interstate could pick me up if they wanted to. So after conversations with the Crows, they just decided to sign me in, and that's how it works.
Awesome. And how was that, like, changing, moving your life and transitioning to living in another state?
It was terrifying, if I'm being honest. I hadn't lived out of home. I was 23 and I didn't know anyone in South Australia. So, I completely just packed up my life into my car and drove across. And like I said, I was terrified. I didn't know any of the other girls, but, really happy that the group of girls that we had there and the coaching staff and the club were amazing, and made it feel like home straight away. So although it was a terrifying experience, it's probably something that I'll be forever grateful for. And I'm never afraid to move away from home. Obviously now that I live on the Gold Coast, but
and how did your typical week look? Were you working part-time, studying as well as playing? Take us through what the schedule looked like at that time.
So I was working full time when I moved over there. I worked for Reece Plumbing, so thankfully they just transferred me to a store, and I worked Monday to Friday and one in every 2 Saturdays at that time. So it was 7 till 4, and then on Saturday it was 8 till 12. And then obviously training 3 days a week, and then in the gym on the 2 nights off that we had. So
Wow.
Most days it was leaving the house at about 6 o'clock and not getting home until 9 o'clock at night. So they can be quite brutal on you, but obviously kind of wouldn't have it any other way. I guess it gives you the chance to work on your work-life balance and learn how to prioritize things. And as a 23-year-old who hadn't lived out of home at the time, and mum was still cooking me dinner and stuff, it probably helped that with my meal prep and all that kind of stuff, and just being a real adult.
Yeah, big growth period. So were you living with other fellow players, or how did your living arrangement look?
No, I was living with randoms at the time, so the club just found me a place to stay, and just lived with randoms, and I ended up moving in with our team manager towards the end of that season in 2017. So, again, a different experience moving into a house where I didn't know anyone, and obviously not knowing anyone, it made it fun and tough, but it was a good growth experience.
So how was it if they weren't playing footy? Like, was it hard, or did that sort of keep it fresh and almost take a bit of a break from football?
I did get woken up, I think, once the night before a game at 3 a.m. when one of my housemates decided to come home after partying, which was an experience. But no, it was good to get home. The girl I was living with, I played in a sample at the time, so she was still training and playing footy, obviously, just at a different standard that I was. So at least still had someone to talk footy with, but then also just talk life with, which was always handy.
Yeah, nice.
We'll be right back after this short break to explain our Prepare Like a Pro Academy. Our Academy is a subscription-based platform where you can sign up to be a part of our community. If you get to the end of each episode of the podcast and are hungry for more, this is for you. Designed for aspiring AFL athletes and staff, you'll receive heaps of bonus weekly content, learn who the guests are in advance, and submit questions. Access to our Facebook group with Jack and other Prepare Like a Pro coaches. You'll be able to receive merchandise, program discounts and freebies, and get free access to our live events, exercise technique database, and much more. This is a great way for you to support the podcast, and it helps me with production and release of epic content for you guys each week. Your contribution goes a long way in making the Prepare Like a Pro community possible, and just for $5 a week, you'll have access to all of this special content released on our Academy forums. There's no lock-in and you can cancel absolutely anytime. Welcome back to the show.
So then how did you go playing at that level? What was your transition like into the Crows?
It was all right, I guess. I played some pretty handy footy and got to play with sort of Aaron Phillips and Chelsea Randall, who are amazing footballers. So we're pretty lucky to play in a good team. And I guess it's different. You get to play against people you've never played against before. So the whole AFL experience of gaining footage and checking out your opposition and stuff is something it still takes a bit of time to get used to. But transitioning to a level I don't think I had too much trouble with. But obviously you can always improve. So. It's probably my best season, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was the most, like, the biggest surprise, I guess? Was it like the meetings, the tactical side, the amount of training, like you said, going to the gym twice a week on top of the training with full-time work, so like the workload? What caught you off guard the most?
That's a good question. I guess, probably how much time we did spend in the gym, or even just how much time we were on the track. And I guess we only have a certain amount of time each week that we could be at the club, or we had to squeeze everything in together. So I guess just how organised we had to be as a club and as a group to get everything done. So if we were only allowed in the club for 3 hours, 3 times a week, it was trying to fit, I guess, what a Monday session would be with review and recovery and then training as well. So just, I guess, how much little time we had to fit in to what I guess AFL players have a whole week to fit in. We're cramming into 3 sessions a week.
Yeah. Okay. So everything's got to be, trying to fit in with everyone's schedules while working as well. Like, how would you go mentally? Like, at the end of a day's work, I'm sure concentration, that you'd have lapses and things like that. So how did you reset from working all day, and then, like you said, time is precious, trying to fit in what the full-timers do in a semi-professional environment? So I imagine that would have its challenges. And how did you go with coping with it?
I'd always try and put good music on in the car on the way from work to training, just to try and change the mood up or get myself pumped for training. But I guess it's being able to walk into the club and I guess leaving the day that you've already had behind you. So when you walk in, you're automatically switched into football mode. I guess it's something that I had to learn to do pretty quickly. So I think my music always got the job done. Although not a lot of people agree with my music choices. Music or a good podcast on the way to from work to training always help.
Yeah. And did that strategy come naturally? Like, was that something you practiced previously, or did someone give you advice on? Like, they're two good tips, the music to help with your energy, but then also that's great advice for developing footballers, leaving your day behind, like not taking it with you, moving on and focusing on the now. So how did you come to have that as part of your habit, your routine?
I don't actually know. I think it's probably just something that I've had to work really hard on myself, and obviously some days are easier than others. So like now, I'd say that I've probably got some solid advice from a sports psychologist and our health and wellbeing ladies that we've had at the footy club. So I guess it's what really is taking tips from people and then finding out what works for you the best. So yeah, we're obviously really lucky that we have the resources of psychologists and welfare people to help us out. So yeah, they're probably the ways that I'd go about it.
Yeah, fantastic. And so Adelaide Crows, from there, how long were you there for, and then where did you next play after Adelaide?
Yeah, so I was at Adelaide for 3 years, so from 2017 to 2019. And I came home and played for the Hawks in the VFL season in 2018, which was a childhood dream of mine to play for the club that I've backed for my whole life, and something I'll be forever grateful for. And yeah, played for them in 2019 as well, and played for Melbourne the start of last year, 2020, as a top-up player. So yeah, got delisted from the Crows, which was a tough experience, but yeah, got delisted and worked really hard to try and get fit for that year's draft and missed out. But then there was an opportunity to be a train-on player. I took that, and then yeah, nominated myself for the Queensland draft at the end of 2020 and got picked up by the Suns. So
awesome.
Bit of a long journey to get to where I am, but yeah, I probably wouldn't change it. Made me who I am, and yeah, makes me mentally tough and pretty resilient to keep putting my hand up. And yeah, look, I've failed a couple of times, but yeah, I'm working my butt off to make sure that I'm at the Suns now, and yeah, I can stay there for a little bit longer and hopefully finish my career there.
Yeah, hats off to you. That's great resilience to be able to bounce back so quickly. How did you gather yourself? I imagine there'd be a few days where you would be pretty down and motivation would be low. For those that might be listening that are going through maybe an injury or just a form slump or similar, they got delisted. How do you go about getting back on board, like you said, and staying motivated and getting better?
I mean, it has its challenges, depending on what you're going through, but I don't know, Beck Goddard's advice to me was the sun comes up tomorrow. So, you know, when I missed out on the draft in 2019, she messaged to check in and then just said, oh, the sun comes up tomorrow and we start again. So, yeah, I guess it's just about refocusing and maybe rethinking about the goals that you have. And yeah, just remembering that, yeah, like it's not the be all and end all if you do get drafted or if you don't get redrafted, or, you know, obviously you want to get back from injuries. But yeah, like just remembering that tomorrow's a new day and you start fresh, and you never know what's going to come your way. So if I had given up, probably would have never had the chance to be a train-on player with Melbourne. And yeah, like I said, I'm grateful for that experience because it helped me be a bit more resilient in getting back to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, and well said. And see, now at Gold Coast Suns, how has the game changed over the last sort of 4 years at AFL level? Is the workload similar or is it bigger? Take us through what a schedule looks like now.
Yeah, well, the schedule's pretty much the same. We're still 3 days of training a week plus 2 days of gym on our off days. Our hours that we're allowed to be at the club have extended a little bit, which is obviously handy because it means that we can be better footballers. But I guess the biggest change that I've seen over the last 5 years is how talented all the young girls coming through are. That unlike me stepping out as an 18-year-old, I hadn't played against women before, where the girls are coming through with all the pathways from Auskick right up to senior footy. That yeah, their skill levels are elite, and the game obviously just keeps getting faster. And yeah, there's a lot of talented girls out there who are still yet to come through. So yeah, I guess just how talented all the girls coming through are is the biggest change that I've seen. Yeah,
okay. So skill levels picked up a lot. What about like the tactical knowledge? Is that an area of the game that's grown as well?
Yeah, I guess it all depends on the coaches you have and the way that they want to play. So there's a lot of coaches who want to play a tactical brand of footy, and you see a lot more zones coming in and that kind of stuff, where other coaches play the fundamentals first and then bring in the game plan. So yeah, it's intriguing, obviously, being at a few clubs to see how different programs work. So the tactical side of it obviously comes into it because as girls get better with their skills and we keep, scoring more goals and we can get a bit more defensive, obviously the tactical side will come along with it too.
Yep. And what about the physical side? Like the training sessions are the same, but is the fitness of the game and the speed of the game, has that improved? And if so, what areas have changed, whether it be in the gym or the drills that is now being done? Take us through how the program has changed as well.
Yeah, well, obviously when the game gets faster, everyone that's playing is going to get faster. So I know at the Suns we had a bit more of a focus on our high speed meters. Obviously, if you watch me run, I'm not the fastest player, but obviously trying to work on personally my high speed meters and get my speed up is something that I'm working on. And obviously I guess when the game gets faster, you got to get faster with it. So I guess it's good that you have strength and conditioning coaches who try and individualize the program as best as they can to help you with your strength and weaknesses. So that's probably something that obviously as we get more hours and we get to be able to train a lot more, that's something that we're getting our hands on as well.
Okay. And what have the hours increased from per week? You mentioned you can spend more time in the club.
I think they went from, we may have been allowed in the club 10 to 12 hours with like contact with our coaches or as a training group. And I think now we can train sort of 15 to maybe 18 hours at the club. But obviously you have access to the club whenever you want. So obviously we do a lot of extras outside of our hours because obviously personally I want to get better. So I guess it's still going to keep growing, and the more it grows, the more hours, and who knows, maybe one day soon it will be a full-time job or we can be more part-time than semi-part-time kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good jump in the right direction, the 15 to 18, and that's contact hours, like you said, with where everyone's doing scheduled work, whether it be meetings, training in the gym, on the field. How often will you do your gym work outside of the contact hours?
Well, same thing. It all depends on your program. So I know up at the Suns we had girls who were only in the gym one extra day. That was just whether they were new to the program and they want to slowly build up their strength and conditioning. But I always try and snuck in a couple of extra days and I jump in and do some off-league conditioning sessions. So, I'm someone that likes to do about 3 gym sessions a week. So whenever I can fit that in, and obviously it all depends on games and stuff as well and how my body's recovering. But if I can do an extra 2 gym sessions outside of the one that we do as a group, then that's what I aim to do.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned the off-feet conditioning for those that haven't heard of that term before. What is it, and why do you do it? Like, in what part of your game are you trying to improve by doing off-feet conditioning?
So off-legs conditioning is, I guess, like a bike, a ski erg, a grinder, a rower, in the pool, just with my arms. So I personally do it just to try and build a bit of extra fitness over the pre-season. So obviously just to try and help with my fitness level and my endurance, and just so that I can obviously recover and I'm not smashing my body too much. So I'm trying to take a load off by obviously not running or being in the gym at the full time. But I'm pretty lucky. We have a heat room up on the Gold Coast, so I spend a lot of time in there, and always jump in the pool wherever I can, obviously for that bit of extra recovery, but also like swimming. So it's a good way to keep my fitness up. Yeah.
So on the topic of recovery, what have been some of your favourite ways to recover straight after a game or the day after a game?
A bit of a weird one. I don't mind the odd ice bath, or jumping and walking a couple of laps in the pool. So they're probably 2 that work for me. Or straight after the game, I'm probably just chucking ice bags on any sore niggles and stuff that I have, and always make sure I try and get a really good sleep. So obviously sleep's probably one of the most important things that you can have in terms of recovery. But outside of that, it's the standard ice baths, walking in the pool, or just ice packs, whatever I've got access to.
Yeah. And with your sleep, have you ever found it challenging to get into like a deep sleep after a big game? And if so, what are some ways that players can help sort of wind down to get into a good rested state?
I always find it really hard to fall asleep after a night game. I think with just the adrenaline of playing and being up and about, especially if you get the win, you've got a lot of adrenaline running through your body. So trying to switch off is really hard. But I like to chuck on some sleep meditation apps, or just chuck on a meditation and try and just relax myself that way. And help myself fall into a deep sleep. So I'm a pretty good sleeper once I'm asleep, but yeah, obviously just falling asleep at the start, especially if I'm up and about, is something I've struggled with. So those apps have helped me.
Awesome. Do you know a couple off the top of your head for those listening that want to download an app to help?
Yeah, I think I've listened to Smiling Minds, their sleep cycle app that they have. I think there's about 6 sessions, and I reckon I've listened to them too many times that I could count. But yeah, they still do the trick. So yeah, they'd be the ones that I jump on.
Awesome. Very good. And how long will a song take or a sequence?
I think it varies. So I think there's one that's like 6 minutes long, and then there's another one that's like 20 minutes long. So yeah, obviously I can't say I've ever listened to the one that goes for 20 minutes long, because by the time it gets about halfway through, I get bored and I fall asleep. So yeah, I'd like to say it does the job.
Yeah. Well said. Very good. Well, we'll start to wrap it up now, Perko. What are you excited for 2021? What's on the horizon for you?
Well, obviously our season's coming forward, so we start in December now. So I'm obviously stuck here in Melbourne at the moment. I've got 2 games of footy to go with the Hawks, and then I'll head back up to the Gold Coast. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back up and getting stuck in a pre-season with the girls. And yeah, we had a bit of a shocking season last year, so I'm really excited to hopefully win a few games with the girls and yeah, just see how much we've improved over the off season. So yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. So yeah, so VFL season that finishes in a couple of weeks. What will be the plan for you from VFL to AFLW? So we have a bit of an off-season period and then almost like an off-season training program, or how will the next couple of months look?
Well, I've got to get back up and in the state first, obviously with our COVID restrictions that we've got at the moment here in Vic. But yeah, hopefully have maybe a week or so off, and then jump into our pre-season program, which probably kick off at the start of maybe August, end of July, and then be ready to go for pre-season, which starts I think the 1st of September. So yeah, not too much of a break, but yeah, just enough to refresh the body and yeah, get myself back up to the Gold Coast and be ready to go.
And like you said, the pre-season, what would be a typical week if the normal pre-season at the Gold Coast Suns is 3 sessions a week, and then 2 to 3, or you do an extra gym session, so 3 gym sessions a week? What will August look like for you?
Yeah, August will look pretty much the same. So I'd say it'd be probably 2 to 3 running sessions a week, and then yeah, 1 to 2 gym sessions, and then maybe some off-leg sessions depending on what each of us need to work on. So yeah, that's what I'm working off. But if it's changing, it's more. If it's less, we'll just do whatever is required, and yeah, still try and get my extras in.
Oh, very good. Awesome. Well, thanks again for jumping on and sharing your stories along your journey, what's worked and the lessons you've had along the way. It's yeah, been fantastic having you on for everyone listening, both developing players but also current mature players playing as well. So thanks, Perko.
No worries at all. Anytime.
Awesome. And all the best for those 2 games. Hopefully you guys get a win for Meg Hutchins' last couple of games.
Yeah, I think we have to. She deserves it, doesn't she?
Absolutely. Awesome. Cool.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Catch up.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode and want even more, our academy is for you. The Prepare Like a Pro Academy is a platform that hosts exclusive features and bonus content, such as a Q&A segment aimed at getting to know the guests on a more personal level. Here's an example with Emily Meehan, head sports dietitian at the Collingwood Football Club. What are things that fire you up?
Oh, this one is always, so I suppose it is, it'll be topical for most people, I think, but staying in your lane. And I often find that with nutrition, everyone eats, so everyone has an opinion. And I think that's what really gets me fired up, because so many people try and provide nutrition advice based on their N of 1 experience when they did intermittent fasting or keto or whatever it might be. And then
game changes, I'm sure
yeah, game changes, whatever that might be. And look, it probably keeps me in a job, but that it does drive me insane, because sometimes the information can be so detrimental and opposite to what I've been working with my athlete or athletes, and and because they hear it on someone's socials or through a documentary, it unravels everything that I've been working with an athlete for.
Yeah. Another feature of our academy is the opportunity each week to join myself as co-host on the Prepare Like a Pro live chat show. Here's an example with Academy member Rama Davies as strength and conditioning coach at the Box Hill Hawks.
Welcome, Rama, to the chat. Rama has also worked at Box Hill, or currently he's working at Box Hill Hawks with us. Awesome. So he's another Box Hill man in the strength and conditioning department. So I'll handle it over to you, Rama, to ask your question, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Excellent. Thanks, Jack. And yeah, thanks Sam, for the chat. It was, I found it to be really insightful, plenty of gems in there, and I enjoyed it a lot. Mate, my question to you was, you spoke quite a bit about perspective during that chat. And I was wondering, what are some of the things that you either know or do physically that you wish you either knew or did back at the beginning of your career? What are some of those things?
Yeah, good question. So I suppose with perspective on life, that sort of point, it certainly has been massive for me now, and didn't probably have that as much when I was younger. I suppose one thing I might mention is gratitude. I spend a lot of my time doing a lot of gratitude exercises, listening to podcasts, doing a journal every day, just a bit to say what I'm grateful for, sort of 3 things. And that's a fantastic way that I've been able to, reset and just kind of gain that gratitude and perspective about, that there is more to life than football, or, might be whatever, as an S&C coach, if something's, you're having a hard time, it can be massive with just, opening your eyes a little bit and losing that sort of tunnel vision or being stuck in that work bubble. So that's been huge. I think I wish back then, when I was younger, I asked more questions and was a bit more open to different things. I think I was a bit single-minded back then, and thought there was one way of doing things. And if I kind of didn't have that fear of, asking a silly question or fear of judgment, it would have got me a lot further, and I probably would have learned a lot quicker. Being open to sort of different things, because you never know what you might find. It's just, there's so many people, great people out there, knowledgeable people to learn off.
And there's plenty more where that came from. If you would like to learn more, then enter patreon.com/preparelikeapro or head to the link in our show notes. Thank you for listening to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. If you like this episode, it'd be a massive help if you could like, follow, rate, give a review, or even share with your mates. The show is recorded in Melbourne, Australia. Be sure to follow our Instagram page for all updates on our latest and greatest. If you would like to get in touch to suggest a guest or advertise with the Prepare Like a Pro podcast, please email me at jack@preparelikeapro.com. Thanks so much for tuning in.